Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Girls Gotta Talk podcast. I had mentioned it in my last episode that I think I started going through like another quarter life crisis. Maybe I'm just going through like a quarter year crisis. Like, is that a thing? Can we make that a thing? Well, I don't really want to make it a thing, but I think that's just what's happening. I kind of in my last episode, I know I had talked about just having like reality check, light bulb go off, something just clicked and started to make sense type of situation. I don't know if it even like makes sense, but like that's just what I'm trying to explain here. I sat there and I've always said that 30 never scared me. It's still, I'm not saying scares me, but I really sat there the other day and was like, dang, like, did I blink and miss my 20s? Then I started to think of like what I've actually done in my 20s. Like, what have I actually either gone through or like accomplished or anything in my 20s. Like, now I'm literally turning 30 this year. In September, I will turn 30. So, like, I still go through most of the year in my 20s because I have a late birthday. But I really was like, dang, like, did I just blink and miss my 20s? Is this what people go through, like, when they go through, like, each, like, stage of age, if that makes sense? Or I'm like, did it just happen so quickly? Like, did things go really well that, like, life just kind of flew by? Like, you know, and it's like, oh, you blink and you have, like, so much fun. Time flies when you're having fun. Is that what happened? Like, I'm actually genuinely curious because now I'm sitting here and I'm like, dang, what have I actually done with my life? For real. Like I said, I started going through like my 20s and tried to go through like what I've done. Like, I know, like, okay, so I've stopped talking to people I used to be so close with. I know that's just like a stage of life at this point. I feel like you're gonna have friends you're friends with for a while, you're gonna have friends you're friends with your whole life, but like there's gonna be those people you just kind of fall off with. Whether they're from like school, another town, a job you had, like something where it's like if you don't see them every day and you just gradually stop talking to them, you just eventually like fall off. Like, it happens. It is what it is. Like I said, that's just kind of life. So I know I stopped talking to people I used to be so close with, but at the same time, like, I made new friends. I do want to say, like, through my 20s, I feel like I've made new friends. Then I was thinking like way in my 20s. So I started dating in my 20s. I had my first boyfriend in my 20s, which I don't know. I don't really have much to say for that, but I feel like that's what started my 20s. I'm not going to lie. So, started dating in my 20s. We're going to put like TMI out there. I lost my virginity in my 20s, which I feel like, I don't know, a lot of people are going to say that's late in life. It could be early for some. Like, that's just one of those things where it's like personal like, I don't say personal preference. Like, I don't know. That's just what happened with me. I honestly think I was 20 years old, so like right at the start of my 20s. I went through a breakup. I started dating someone else. We had a baby. We went through a breakup. That was another breakup I had gone through within my 20s. I quit a job I had, started a new job. Honestly, after like a couple years, I want to say, quit that job, went back to the original one I had. Like, it was very back and forth with jobs and trying to find out where I wanted to be, where kind of I needed to be for personal reasons and all this stuff. That was definitely a process for myself. I had ended up talking to like a couple different people about things, trying to get different opinions, trying to just get my opinions out there, see what they said about it. Like, I'm just a very like, if I need to decide, I'm not a big decision maker. Like, don't put decisions in my hands, to be honest. I hate making decisions. If there's a decision I need to make, I need to talk about it. I need to talk to someone. I need to kind of just get it out there and like say something out loud and honestly get feedback. I feel like that's not always should be the case, but that is for me because I'm a very indecisive person. I can't just sit here and like decide. Like, I need pros and cons. I need an outlook on something. I need an outsider opinion. Like, that's just my type of vibe with things. That's just how I am. Um I will admit, like, I went through a lot of struggles. I feel like that's also just a part of life. You're gonna go through a lot of different things throughout your life. So, yes, I went through struggles, but I feel like I also went through like a lot of ups, a lot of good times. Um, I started a YouTube channel, which is honestly, I think one of the biggest things I could have done for myself. One of the craziest things I'd also admit I could do for myself as being such an introverted person and finally actually doing something that I kind of really wanted to do and just never actually had the courage to do is a big step for me. Like when I say that's one of the biggest things I probably could have done outside of my comfort zone, that's huge for me. That's very big for me, but I will say I'm glad I had the pushes that I did and I'm very glad that I ended up doing it and ended up making that. Do I wish I'm on it more? Yes, absolutely. I do wish I did a lot more for that. I just don't have the time. I don't have the time to be, I don't want to say invested, but like just being able to do as much as I want to do for that. Um, with that being said, starting a YouTube channel. So obviously started doing long form content, which was videos and everything. That was super fun. But I did also start to learn that I love making and coming up with ideas for short form content, which is like the reels and shorts and just little like snippet videos, if you will. I did realize I absolutely love doing that. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about it. I just really actually enjoy it. That there are day to day, like, just instances where, like, I sit there and just think, like, if I recorded this and if I do this and if I get this, like, I can make a little video, blah, blah, blah. But then I'm like, if I make so many, like, are they going to be so interesting? Like, no one probably wants to see that many short term or short form, like, day to day parts of my life. I really don't think my life is that, and I don't want to say enjoyable, that interesting for me to just be like making videos like that. But I do want to start getting into that. I feel like I haven't made or like thought of one or like I feel like I do have ideas written down. I just haven't put them into go and actually make them and like get the content for it and go film the content for it and like put it all together. Like the putting it all together is I think what gets me the most. I get really excited when I do put stuff into like the software that I do use to edit. It does, I'm not gonna lie, kind of overwhelms me just because I put everything all in at once. So there's just a lot of stuff there. But then like once I start getting into it, I feel like a lot of times I can't stop until I finish it, which is really bad because I feel like I should maybe start stuff and then like take a look at it either later or another day just to kind of get a new perspective and a set of eyes on it. But I get very focused. I get very like, I need to finish this. But I think it's just because I've noticed that I really, really, really enjoy doing that stuff. Um, I've also started a podcast. That is another thing, along with this YouTube channel. I will say probably neck and neck of being the biggest things out of my comfort zone. So, very proud of myself that I've done that and I've tried to keep up with that. As you can see, if you listen here, I have been very sporadic with uploading, but we're gonna try to get better here. I'm really trying. I promise. I promise I'm really trying. But it also just comes down to time and getting myself to like sit and do things. I've realized I've become more of a planner than like actual follow through, which I think I've said before that like I've planned so much that I don't actually like follow through and end up doing stuff about it. I just have the plan sitting and I need to focus more on like the actual output of all that stuff. So hopefully that gets better. Um but I have also thought of a lot of hobbies that I've wanted to do. And then I was like sitting there and I was like, I've thought of so much stuff I wanted to do, whether it's little, whether it's something I've wanted to do and just never gave myself enough courage or anything to get it done or like put it out there. So then I'm sitting there and I'm like, why haven't I started them? Like, what am I afraid of? You would think by 30, which, like I said, is where we're heading to. You would think by 30, I would know not to let fear or like anything like that stop me from doing anything. But then again, like, here we are. I guess it's still affecting me for some whatever reason. I do get very nervous a lot. It's just my thing. Like if I think too much about something, I get myself all worked up and nervous that I don't actually have the follow through, or like I don't know. And I don't want to say energy because it's not energy. I don't have the courage, I guess, to actually go through with it and like be able to either do it at all, or if I end up doing it, to like put it out there, like show people, or like I don't know, it kind of depends on like what we're talking about here, but like I just get too much into my own head, and I absolutely know that for a fact that I need to break that like ASAP, honestly, but I do know like that's something I'm totally self-aware of that I need to like honestly start kicking myself for, because I feel like I could have done so much or have had so much more going on if I just ended up doing what I've thought I've wanted to do and all this stuff, if that even makes sense. I also I was sitting here the other day and I was like, maybe I should start like my 30 before 30 list, like 30 things I need to do before I turn 30. So now we have 6 months until I turn 30. So I'm like, wow, this will be the perfect time to try to get a lot of things done. Like 30 things, that's a lot of things. So 6 months should definitely give me enough time to like maybe force myself to do some things I've been wanting to do or have always wanted to do or something like that. I don't know what would even start that list, but I'm sure there's a few things that should be on it. Half of which, like hobbies I've been thinking of doing or like wanting to do, that could be like a few little things. Like that could be the start of the list. That could be something small that could lead me to like bigger things of things I want to maybe accomplish before I actually turn 30. But I read this thing that said, I heard your 30s are for doing what you loved as a teenager, but without embarrassment. And it made me question it. Like, is that true? Like, is that what 30 actually is? Like, is 30 when you actually stop caring what others think? For me, anyways, I guess. I guess this is like a personal thing because I feel like some people just don't care, anyways, and they're might not be 30 yet. But for me, unfortunately, like, that's actually a thing. I've actually sat there and thought about that because, granted, I feel like I don't want to say embarrassed, but I get very like overwhelmed. Maybe it's embarrassed. I don't know. Of people like I see in public that like will look at me, but like then I'm like, dude, they're literally looking at me for like 30 seconds. And then they're probably going to forget they even saw me today. They're not even going to think or question what I was even doing and why they were looking at me. Like they're going to go on with their life. You might not even ever see them again. But I still like notice them looking at me, and it breaks me down. I'm not gonna lie, like it completely, like that's where I break down. That's where I shut off. That's where I shut down. And that's where I'm like, should I actually be doing this? Like, is this what I want to do? Because I don't really like this. It makes me uncomfortable. But then again, like, shouldn't the uncomfortability, is that a word? The uncomfortable, like, be what makes you grow? Isn't that a thing? I feel like I'm getting too into this right now, but anyways, if that's what 30 actually is, I'm actually ready for it. Like, I am so ready for it. And if that stops me from not doing the things because I was scared, then honestly, like, thank God. If that's the push I need, these 6 months better fly by because that could be really good for me. I guess, I don't know. I guess this is just like my reflection time. Um, these last few months of my 20s, like I said, we have like 6 months to go now, is I guess my time to reflect on things that have happened. And 30 is hopefully going to be a change, but like a good change. Like, I'm honestly not usually one for change. I hate change. But at this point, like, this might be my time where like I need the change. And that's another thing that I can get out of my comfort zone, is actually being ready for change. Um, a lot of positive change this year, as in like new year, like as in 2026, has already started the same as last year for me. I don't know if you'll remember, but if you had listened to, I think, the episodes I had uploaded the beginning of 2025, I had basically said that like January and February didn't count and like my year kind of started in March. I feel like that is still kind of valid for me this year. I feel like March is really going to be like when my year starts, I want to say, but honestly, so far, like March is seeming to be a little crazy. Honestly, from December, it's been a bit crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Like to say the least, like from December, like it's just been a lot of things piled on where like I'm literally just waiting for a break that maybe seems to come and then completely doesn't. But then that's also what I could be kind of talking about in my last episode where I said like the things like that stuff I would be complaining about, I could be the one to change it. So I need to like get some shit done to fricking change it. So that definitely needs to be something that happens soon. But um I also had saw this thing. I feel like I was just scrolling on social media the other day and things were just like hitting me. But I saw this thing that said normalize rebranding your whole self in your 30s because in your 20s you were on autopilot. Honestly, that kind of just made me laugh, but then I'm like, dang, is that what my 20s was? Like, is that why I just don't know what I've actually done or accomplished or anything in my 20s? Is just because it was straight autopilot? Like, was that a thing? Is that actually a thing? I don't know. Anyways, I feel like 30 feels like it's going to be a new start, maybe a fresh start. Like, so going into 2027, I'll be 30. So, like, maybe that'll be my fresh start. I don't know. We'll see, I guess, when we get there. I'm going to enjoy these last 6 months I have of being 20 and try to maybe rebrand myself going into my 30s. But I don't know. This was just my reflective period that I just had to get out there and kind of question myself and speak out loud to see if I notice anything. But, anyways, that was all I have for that rant of an episode. I love you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys. And we'll see you next week in a brand new episode. Bye.